I'll tell you what social media has done. It has created the bravest generation behind a computer screen. We are the bravest generation of keyboard warriors. Like, that's what we are.
One thing I think I want to talk to you guys about is one thing that I find very interesting is the amount of entertainment that our society bases itself on now. And I think it has been on a meteoric rise over the last couple of years. And yet, looking at the fall of the Roman Empire, which, you might be interested in here, Nate.
Just maybe a little. Yeah.
I don't know if you know this fact, but I've done a little bit of research, and they say one of the reasons that contributed to the fall of the Roman Empire was the society was focused on entertainment and not on what was going on.
Well, and you're not wrong there. I mean, we are living in an age where being entertained, consumes so much time. I either want to go on YouTube, I want to go on Netflix and watch a movie, I want to, I don't want to think. People don't want to think. They just want to be entertained.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
And to a certain degree, that's okay. To a certain degree, it's okay to have times of being entertained, but it's becoming 24/7. The studies are coming out, like, people are spending crazy amounts of time on, stuff like YouTube and Netflix, and it's pulling them away from the things that matter in life. Like, it's pulling them away from their family. It's pulling them away from their relationships. And it's scary, really, for a culture, because we're so fixated on, I need to be entertained. I need to be consuming content. Like, I got to be consuming things. Right. And I don't know. It's not a good place to be.
That's just it. The Gospels only share so much of Jesus' life. He was 33 some years of age. So there's a lot of years that aren't covered. We get the most important stories of his life and death and resurrection. But I always wondered, like, Jesus in his spare time. I mean, we can safely assume he found time to clearly pray to God, but was he ever entertained? Like, I know there's no social media in that time, but there was forms of entertainment. I always wondered that. Not that I'm trying to make any point here. I do sometimes wonder, did Jesus, clearly the Sabbath was a time of rest, and I always wonder, what did Jesus do for entertainment? It's all speculation. We'll never know.
Yeah, because it only covers, the four Gospels really covers especially his last, his most active years. Like, they do have some stories about his childhood, but he spent a lot. In his spare time, he got away from everybody. He went, as you said, he went to pray, and that's what he did. You see it time and time again in the Gospels. Jesus went and prayed, right? Like, he went over to here and went and prayed, went over here and went and prayed. And I think that's something important that we as believers could take a much closer look at than probably most of us do, is we can take a break from all, because Jesus had a very busy ministry, right? Like, you look at the Gospels and the amount of crowds, the amount of times that he was speaking, right? Speaking his word and speaking all of his messages and everything like that would be taxing. I mean, he was God in human flesh, and
he was an influencer.
He was. And if you want to try apply 21st century social media to the ancient world, first century Judea, I would say their version of social media was word of mouth, because, like, you hear about just even the story of the 5,000, right? Feeding the 5,000, like, how did all those people know that Jesus was going to be there speaking or whatever? His word, his message was spread word of mouth. That's how people found out about him, right?
Well, like, even you look at it, like, how hard is it to get to 5,000 followers or subscribers now?
It's not hard. I shouldn't. It's probably tough if you're just one person.
Well, it's kind of one of these things where, from my understanding of it, like, the more followers or subscribers you have, the easier it is to get more. But getting that first set is not easy.
It's hard.
And then you think about it. You're talking about someone who does not have access to a global marketplace. It's a very local marketplace, and yet the amount of effort and time that he put in could be considered, like these influencers that are today, because they, like, YouTube influencer, you are working your butt off to get those followers. You are working your butt off to get there.
It's a full-time job, and you're constantly on the move until you can get successful. I guess, for someone who wants to be an influencer, like filming for a bit and then going like crazy on the computer, editing those videos, pushing the content out to the sites, and then always having to create new stuff all the time. The only way that influencers stay influencers is by staying relevant with new stuff all the time.
Well, and then you compare it to what's going on now. It's just like, okay, well, they were putting out, like, an influencer now has to put out information. Well, how did he influence people? He had to go and talk to this group of people, and then he had to go to talk to this group of people, and then he had to go talk to this group of people. I was just like, dude, the guy must have talked, like, his tongue and mouth were probably like chiseled.
Well, and I think he was clearly actively involved with the people, and some people would argue, well, okay, that was back then, but no, the most recent example that comes to my mind is Mother Teresa. Didn't vie for any type of attention, just served in Calcutta, the sick, the poor.
And loved people.
And worldwide, she's known. Like, go figure.
Almost everybody has heard of Mother Teresa.
Absolutely.
Not everybody, but a lot of people in the world have heard about Mother Teresa.
And I sometimes wonder, like, and the answer doesn't matter to me, but I've always wondered, if Jesus came into our world today, would he have a Facebook page? And I don't know.
Well, there's two things I want to talk about that. The first thing was, we can honestly say that Jesus had rock star status in the old world, because, like, the triumphal entry, dude, everybody threw a party for you just for showing up.
Well, yeah, and the miracles alone just immediately that gets around pretty fast.
The miracles, and also too the other thing I think that also helped him with some traction was that Judea was under Roman occupation.
And everyone expected him to overthrow the Romans.
Well, yeah, overthrow the Romans, and life under Romans, like, if you weren't a citizen, like if you weren't a Roman citizen living in the Roman Empire, your life could be pretty hard. At least if you were a citizen, you had certain rights, and the Romans respected those rights, like among their own citizens. Like, I mean, look at Apostle Paul. Paul was a Roman citizen. And he said something about, I'm a citizen, like I'm a Roman citizen.
Well, yeah, no,
right?
he got arrested, and because he was a citizen of Rome, he could go before, I don't know if it was the emperor or if it was a tribunal in Rome that...
For sentencing.
Yeah, so because he was a citizen, he's like, okay, well, I'm not going to... you guys don't have the authority to give me this. I can go and talk to this authority. Judea was such a rebellious province of Rome that at the end, Rome was like, why did we even conquer you? Because this is too much of a headache. But going to would Jesus have a Facebook page? And I'm like, well, Nathan said it's so impersonal. Jesus is all about one-on-one, like face-to-face. Because so much of his ministry was face-to-face. Like, even you have to look at it, so the Gospels are written by his apostles. Well, you never hear of Jesus writing a letter to somewhere to say, hey, this is what I want you to do. No. It was like, oh, they need me to go do, or they are failing over here. Okay, this is where I'm heading now. I find it so interesting that the letters to tell people about the faith came after he died. So... like, I think this is the main problem that has come up with social media, is that social media is impersonal, and it's all about appearances.
Appearances, which can either be true or false, and there's a lot of scams out there.
And Christianity doesn't care about appearances. I mean, we can go and take that from what Jesus wanted. It was like, Jesus was like, with the scum of society, so he didn't care how he looked. Like, he would have been ridiculed so badly for doing all that stuff that he didn't necessarily care. But it was that personal connection, and he didn't care how it looked. He went where he was needed, and I don't see any of that in social media. Social media, as used as a tool, can help Christians.
Yeah, it can help.
But as a overall statement, I would say social media has done more to degrade people's faith and the perception of the church than it has even come close to helping.
Because we're obsessed with social media. Like it sort of naturally, like if you're on it all the time, it sort of naturally makes you want to be relevant. You want to be front and center. You want to be center of attention. You know, it's like a big selfie stick, taking a video going, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. Forever, look at me. Every day, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. And then it's self-defeating because
why do we buy this stuff? Why do we eat this stuff?
Because we're drinking the wrong stuff, the wrong
Kool-Aid.
Maybe the wrong Kool-Aid. It might be that purple, but it's like a broken pot, right? And you're trying to fill that pot with water, right? So you got the hole in the bottom of the pot or a crack in the bottom of the pot, and you fill the pot up to the top. Come back an hour later and it's totally empty, and then you go and you fill it again, totally empty, go it again, totally empty. So it's the same thing I would say with social media. It's a false, I don't know what you want to call it. It's an empty void of a need that's never going to be filled, because people have to find their fulfillment in God. They got to find their faith in the Lord. And if you seek after his kingdom and you seek after Christ and you seek after those things, I mean, yeah, you can still be on social media, but I think if you're really authentically walking in your faith, that you're not gonna look at the things of the world.
You know, this shouldn't surprise us, though. If we believe that everything that's good comes from God, I mean, social media is no different. It falls under a bunch of other things that are good, but like what we're always great, humankind, we're the best at. We're our sinful nature. We're great at taking something good and twisting it at times for something evil. And it's no different to any other platform or medium. Like, it's not that social media is this big black sheep. I remember when it first came out, it was actually a really helpful tool. But like a lot of good things, we seem to mess it up.
And as a human race, we are so good at that.
We're the best. We're the absolute best.
We're absolute pros. When something good is introduced into our world, and slowly over time, because of men's corruption.
Like, I'll tell you what social media has done. It has created the bravest generation behind a computer screen. We are the bravest generation of keyboard warriors. Like, that's what we are.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, and you're not wrong. I mean, you're not wrong. Like, I mean, people say things on social media that they will never say in person. You know, let's say if you're having a debate with somebody online, or you're having a conversation, and let's say someone doesn't like what you say. If you were to go to that person and say, okay, you're talking about it, you're talking about it on your status update, come to my house and tell that to me in person. Let's have a conversation.
The majority of the stuff they type, they would not say that to their face. I can almost promise
They wouldn't.
Though I totally agree with that. But there was one other thing that I wanted to mention about social media. And when it first came out.
But you're not on it.
Yeah, I know I'm not on it. But when social media first came out, the things that we consumed social media on, or we interacted with social media on, it was us and the machine. It wasn't very long, because like if you did it on your phone, and I know I'm dating myself when you had a phone that didn't have a camera in it, but it didn't take long for the phones to get cameras in them.
That was like the Stone Age, man.
Yeah.
That was like beyond Stone Age, you know?
Hey, I'm not that old. But how long after the rise of social media did you have whatever you consume social media on have a camera facing you? Why would we ever need a camera facing us?
It's for self-validation.
Is self-validation part of the Christian thing?
Not at all.
No, our validation comes from Jesus.
No, but in the world of today with social media, you go on something and all you ever see is picture perfect, right? Like you see the photos of people at the beach, right? They got a perfect life.
The rise of depression.
Yeah, we're in this day and age, our culture basically tells us, be your own God. You're the master of your own universe, and no accountability to go with it either.
It's like you can portray yourself however you want, but if anybody starts finding out who you are, it's like, oh, my anxiety is through the roof. It's like, well, why do you care if people find out? Oh, you care because you're not the person you've portrayed?